without further ado, let's get into our film room study. First and foremost, we're going to take a look at Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. Happy for them, getting their first win. Very emotional moment. I'm happy that it happened in Detroit. I think, in retrospect, I'm very, very happy that it happened in the Motor City. It was cool. It was one of those it was one of those sports moments that maybe won't get put on a pedestal ever, but it was really cool to be watching live on TV. That happened, that transpired.
Yeah.
Just the whole drive. It was whimsical. We've all taken we've taken shots at Detroit this year, and obviously so. They haven't been a good football team. They've been competitive, but have not been able to really finish football games. And we don't, for as far as film goes, I don't think we've looked at them once this year, right? Maybe
No,
maybe a defensive
no.
thing. I don't even think anything.
No,
not at all.
they do fall into the lovable losers category though, so they got that going for them.
100%. So yeah, really cool moment. Good weekend. I mentioned it in yesterday's podcast, but a very good weekend for Michigan, the state of Michigan football. I would dare so say. Of course, your boys winning their conference championship and advancing out, of course, the college football playoffs, which is humongous. And then all this in memory of those poor souls in Oxford, those kids who were just victims of senseless violence. But it was a huge moment for Michigan. I think it was that's the beauty of football. I think maybe not everybody's healed, but you can kind of come together and rally together and feel good around a sport like football. And I think that's what I took most from this weekend. So. So let's take a look at this play first, and then we'll start to break it down and go through the personnel and all that jazz. All right, here we go.
There's Hawkinson inside. Here we go. Goff from the gun to the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown.
I love the crowd reaction. That's probably my favorite thing. It makes me so happy to see fans just happy, and like they were loud and proud at Ford Field this past week. So this was it was a back and forth game. Detroit actually took it to Minnesota through most of this game, but the Vikings kind of rallied back. They had control, and Minnesota left like I think a minute and 20-something seconds left. Plenty of time for the likes of Tom Brady and such, but to kind of rally a comeback. But we've never seen. I don't know if I've ever seen Jared Goff rally a comeback like this before. That's what I was probably most impressed about. In this whole sequence of events, it's actually a really masterful drive. Minnesota kind of shot themselves in the foot, but I really don't think I've ever seen Minnesota do this. So, Jared Goff do this. So, personnel-wise, we have 11 personnel on the offensive side. All right. We have 3 wide receivers, so it is trips. It's trips left, and there's a running back there next to Jared Goff. He is lined up horizontally adjacent to him. And for the Vikings, it's a prevent defense pretty much. They only are sending 3 men. Everybody else is playing back. Of course, you can see the large grouping of Vikings defenders, probably extra linebackers, extra cornerbacks, DBs, whatever it may be, just trying their best to guard, and they did a terrible job of guarding this end zone, preventing the touchdown. It's 4 seconds left. It's 4th and 2, and Detroit needs the touchdown to win. This is almost like I'm actually pretty blown away by that the Vikings gave this up. I thought their defense looked pretty good as far as where they were placed at protecting this end zone, but it was just magic. It was just meant to be. It was one of those meant-to-be things. So what I like about this bunch formation on the trips left, which I always say all the time, when it comes to red zone stuff, it's great. You guys hear me ad nauseum. You put 3 guys on one side, defender's going to get confused, and this is exactly what kind of happened here with this play. The defenders got a little confused. It was literally a moment, like half a second of a hiccup, that gave Jared Goff enough time to hit the touchdown right here. Of course, the big weapon, T.J. Hawkinson in the slot. pulled a couple defenders away. But I mean, this is at first glance, how would you how do you attack something like this? Right? That's what it's all about. The pressure's on. How do you attack something like this? It's always looking for the seams. It's always looking for the seams. You want to try and find the seams. But, Minnesota here, their seams, there's a defender, there's like a safety, defensive back, ready to kind of close in that seam. And that's why it's like so magical that this thing kind of happened and worked out the way that it did. Gave Jared Goff plenty of opportunity, and it was just like I said, it was one of those quick reaction things that you kind of have to hit every when the moment's hot. If he waits a half a second longer, Detroit's still is 0-11-1 right now. So
yeah.
So let's start to break this down a little bit. Let's kind of watch from the first snap. All right, pressure's on. Again, only 3-man rush. Easy to block. They know the pass is coming. They have no other it's the only choice that the Lions have to pull this game off.
There's Hawkinson.
Yep, Hawkinson in the slot. There's really not a route concept here either. It's can we consider these go routes? They literally all just run in straight lines.
Right.
They all just run in straight lines.
Yeah, you just get past that goal line and make yourself available for a pass. It's like a mini Hail Mary.
Correct. I believe this man on the right here too. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown was the guy who caught the touchdown in this. But see, Tennessee, we talked about you guys last week. Get in the end zone. Don't try and just come a little short and then power your way through. That's not how it works. Tennessee,
right.
Take some lessons from Jared Goff and the Lions. Why don't you?
Maybe not too many.
Maybe not too. Well, in this home stretch for the Colts and Bills, I don't know. Go ahead, take all the Detroit lessons you want. But all right, the ball is snapped.
Inside.
All right, Jared Goff has a wonderful pocket of room to work on. The defense isn't really moving. They're not moving too much, but you can look like they're trying to close in a little bit on Hawkins, so they know he's the big threat. He's obviously the number one target here. Goff back a little bit.
Here we go.
All right, I like this. I don't know if that's offensive pass interference, but this dude just bull rushes this guy and knocks him back a peg. What do you know the rule on this? Would this be offensive pass interference?
You could definitely call pass interference because it's beyond the 5 yards, but it definitely falls in the category of I dare you to throw the flag on this play.
That's true too. That's a good point too.
You're at home. You have the ball, the go-ahead situation. You'd like to think that the refs aren't leaning towards any scenario one way or another, but I mean we've seen it. We know that this happens. Home teams get calls, and especially in like winning situations, they don't want to be a part of this play. They want nothing to do with whether or not this is a touchdown or not.
Right.
So,
no, 100%. So he hits him, and actually this is a very important part of the play. If you look at it, this gives St. Brown, and I had to shrink Brian's little camera just a little bit so we can see him. Look at this gap of room. This gap of room is just critically important, and that's all the seam that Jared Goff needs. He steps into the pocket. You can see his face. All right, Jared Goff is looking right at him. He knows he wants to hit him. He's the only guy that's truly open.
Goff.
And laser. He got inside the end zone and inside kind of control on these defenders to the point where they couldn't stop him.
And the gun to the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown.
I'd like to try and figure out exact what zone they fall in, because that's what they're doing here. They're running some sort of zone coverage. Looks like might be cover 3.
Yeah, it's definitely cover 3. Yeah, we got 3. So, we got 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Excuse me. So protecting that middle field, but yeah, definitely cover 3. But yeah, I think the little bull rush here kind of shook this guy up a little bit.
Right.
This defender had him come up. This guy goes to the out. Hold on, let's watch this again.
There's Hawkinson inside.
Let me turn it down too, so we can actually talk over it.
Here we go.
Yeah, he cuts back. That's what happens. That's part of the reason why he got so much space. This dude went back too far. He committed. He was real soft, and he gave up the perfect spot.
Yeah.
He gave it the perfect spot. It wasn't anything that St. Brown really did, I think, miraculously. This guy, I think, just anticipated too much. He anticipated a little bit too much. That's kind of what I'm gathering. There's no crazy footwork from St. Brown here.
No.
Great hands, though. Great hands, because the coverage did tighten up a little bit at the end there.
He's made a few plays for them this year.
He has. He's not going to be a wide receiver one just anywhere, but he has made a
No.
couple big time plays. Younger brother of Equanimous St. Brown, the former, I think, Green Bay Packer.
Yep.
So,
actually, he might still be there.
I think he might be too.
Brown.
I think he might be.
So that snap here, trying to figure out exactly what those corners and the safeties communication and maybe where the breakdown is or who's to blame. At snap, the cornerback that's at the bottom of the screen, he definitely has outside leverage on this play, right? And then he has the safety on the inside of him. So you would think that anything short and towards the middle is supposed to be that safety's responsibility.
Right.
And then anything deep and towards the back of the end zone, that would be the corner's responsibility. But when we actually see the ball thrown, that safety looks like he wants nothing to do with the play. So I wonder if we're actually looking at cover 2, because that keeps those two safeties back without having to step up as much, where cover 3, that first safety that's right around where the L is there in the end zone, that would be squarely on his responsibility. So maybe it's a communication goof up between the coverages. One thing's cover 2, one thing's cover 3. But I would definitely say that above all else, you just got to challenge the ball, and no one even comes close to trying to challenge this pass.
No, they don't. Yep, there's the route, there's the bump. This guy goes inside. Yeah, they played back. That's what happened. They came back too much.
No.
And he ran it almost became like a little hitch route. It almost became a little hitch route. He came up. He saw like he was going as far back as he could. Cut back in, and makes that grab. And yeah, he's got these two guys beat.
Yeah, Gansler is not having a very good Monday today.
I would imagine not. I would imagine not. Yeah. I would do like the fact that Goff did it looks like he made a couple different reads here. He kind of scanned to the right upon the hike. It's a little hard to tell, but if you guys zoom into the video somehow, you can kind of see he's looking towards the right. Maybe he can get something, hit something here. But he scans across the way, which is the markings of a decent quarterback, a pretty good quarterback. All right, looking around, sees it, and bam.
Yep.
It's beautiful. It's definitely. I think for me to look at this, it's cool to see. I mean, it's neat to see the breakdown of the Vikings defense and how they kind of just they just anticipated. They were just kind of in the moment, I guess, and it faltered. It kind of blew up on them. And that pass interference, the non-pass interference call is very interesting too. That body bump, I didn't really notice that before that. But I mean, again, the hole that creates. Look at, he pushes him off to the right, he bumps him, and then he keeps going. And there's probably about 3-4 yards of space in between here, roughly, to make that happen. It's on the part of Jared Goff, it has to be perfectly placed. It's it was definitely one of those things that feels like it was meant to be. But yeah, other than that, that's my offensive play. I wanted to take a look at it again. A really cool moment, and always really neat to see these things happen. Always need to break them down. I like big moments in sports, and this is definitely a cool one for Lions fans. I could definitely appreciate what was accomplished here in getting your first win of the season. I know it's been a long, tough road, another rebuild, so to speak, but really neat here. They got away. They definitely probably got away with that offensive pass interference call, but in the end, it worked. It was a non-call. This dude's looking right at him. He's like, "Nah, I'm not calling that. I'm good." And that ref is like, "Nah, I want nothing to do with that." And they hit St. Brown, and it's a cool moment for Detroit fans that could last for a long time. So.
13 weeks of hard work finally pays off.
Seriously, I mean, how many heartbreakers have they really had this year?
Far too many.
Far too many. They haven't really gotten. I don't think they've really gotten blown out. Maybe by a couple teams, but they've kept it relatively close in a lot of instances.
I thought the Jets, the Jaguars. I'm trying to think of like the Texans. Those teams have looked far less competitive and competent than the Detroit Lions, and no one would ever like. Casual fans might even hear us say that and like what are you even talking about? I was like, well, no, dude. Like you can tell that they're buying in and they're not really making horrendous mistakes. They're keeping themselves in the game by playing smart for the most part.
Yeah.
It's just been some bad luck and just, I mean, there's just no talent on that offense. Outside of DeAndre Swift and Hawkinson, there's literally nothing to build around right now. So
no, it's going to be a couple years. We're going to be talking about them later, of course, with our Losers Club. But yeah, definitely wanted to show some love to Jared Goff and the Lions.
319! 399! Cut! 3-3!
Yeah, spot.
258!